This video will be a simple little hack on how to turn the Walmart 9 LED 2-watt light bulb into use on your 12-volt home solar system for outdoors, indoors, or wherever. Some supplies you'll need is wire, black tape, some type of tubing, heat shrink. Also you need pliers, wire cutters, marker, soldering iron, solder, hot glue, a drill bits, and also of course some type of off or on switch. You'll also need some scrap wire, wire nuts, and wire strippers. And this part is optional, but I highly recommend a good audiobook. Check out this one, it's one of my favorites. I can't play the audio book during the video because copyright infringements. The first step is to take the light bulb and remove this part. A pair of dikes will work fine. After you chop that part off, go ahead and remove the excess plastic. What you're going for is just have a hole big enough for your wires in the back part. I may have forgot to mention you will need a little screwdriver to place in the lip and pry it off, and the top part should pop off like this. The first two popped off easy. The third one had a lot of glue around the outside edge, so be careful with the screwdriver or you might need a band-aid. The next step will be to pry back the 3 tabs around the edges and then remove the LEDs with the little circuit board. After you remove those two, if you keep getting blood everywhere from stabbing yourself with a screwdriver, you might want to apply band-aids. If you're unsure how to apply band-aids, you should not go any farther than this in your home project. Once after the band-aids are applied, you will desolder the connections here, on all 3 sides, and as you desolder the connections, you pry in between right there with the screwdriver gently to remove the little circuit board. Also in the middle, there's a little Phillips screw. Remember to remove that as well before removing the top part off the circuit board. Afterwards, mark the negative side of each side of it. If they're standing up straight, it'll be on the right side on these here type. If you have a different type, you might want to check the polarity first. You can cut your little wire pieces into short little strands and put a dab of solder on the tips. After you solder the wires on, you can replace it through the little mounting hole. After putting the wires back through the little mounting hole, then add a little bit of hot glue on the corners to help stabilize it. Then we'll connect the wires together along to another wire. After adding the hot glue, it should stay still. After you get the wires through, go ahead and twist the wires together, or you can solder them together. Now you test your connection with the 9-volt battery to make sure that the lights are working. Next step, we'll be attaching it in a short wire. That way we can thread it through the little housing that I'm going to use. You can thread it through or wire it up to whichever you would like. After you slide on some heat shrink, make sure you test it with your 9-volt battery before you heat up the heat shrink and permanentize the wire. Just for a little bit of extra support around the top of the heat shrink, I'll put a zip tie and I'll hot glue that around there, and then as I slide it through there, I'll hot glue around the supporting tube. With it hooked up to a 9-volt battery, You should be able to test it, make sure it's working on all sides. And next, you just have to mount it wherever you want and hook it up into your 12 volt system or 9 volt. It works either way. Well, that is all for today. Please subscribe and stay tuned for many other stuff coming up. Let's place in the little lip and pop off the bottom cover. Now you test your connection with 9 volt. Oh man.